Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the Entrepreneur. I hope you've had a lovely day and I hope you've been enjoying your time on the weekend. It's around about 9:30 at night, so hopefully you'll stay with us and watch the rest of the show. Today I have some special guests from ICS Legal who I'm going to introduce to you, but just a little breakdown if you haven't been watching our show. We're going to talk a little bit about how business is saturated, how it begins from a childhood and how it also starts from your dream as well. So on that note, I'm going to introduce you to two of the brothers who runs ICS Legal. Assalamu alaikum, Qadir Bhai. Thank you for coming on the show, and Shazib Bhai, thank you as well.
Thank you.
We're going to go through a few details as we go through our show as well, and to all of our viewers that are watching at home as well, hopefully they will catch on to what we talk about as well, and try and help those young generation people to understand where they need to be where you are today. So let's give them a little advice. Let's start with yourself, Qadir Bhai.
Please.
So where did you start your career in the legal advice section?
To be honest, when I was 17, this is when we really started in recruitment, and that is how ICS Legal later developed. Initially, starting at recruitment, we were working with corporate businesses where they required assistance to hire talented individuals to work for them. And that is how immigration really began for us. And since 2008, we then focused solely on UK immigration. And that is what makes ICS Legal here today.
So what is it that you guys specifically concentrate on since 2008? Why do you specifically concentrate on the UK immigration only?
It was a need we felt at the time. And I think from what we were doing good work. And clients were satisfied, and this is how we were moving forward. Our services covers from providing initial advice, going on to managing applications on behalf of clients, where we prepare and manage a visit visa, from a visit visa application to spouse visa applications, indefinite leave to remain, British nationality. And when going back to corporate law, we were dealing with companies' sponsor license applications, we would prepare their Tier 2 work permits. Business persons will deal with their Tier 1 entrepreneurs, investor, exceptional talent, and that is our business as a whole.
Absolutely. So it seems like the immigration section is quite needed in this country as well, in the UK. Has it been since 2008 or has it been even prior to that?
It was always here. I think our generation, it has developed over time. There's been significant changes since, I would say, 2012, when government had changed. The Home Office had cracked down on a number of aspects within UK immigration. I mean, my brother's going to be talking about the other aspect of our business surrounding the managed services on appeals and advocacy work that we do.
So on that note, let's go to Shazib Bhai now and ask you regarding that situation. So regarding appeals and advocacy, how do you deal with that situation?
Coming to appeals and advocacy, we do administrative review applications where the Home Office has refused an application on a point-based application, such as Tier 4 student or Tier 2 general. We then move ourselves to more complicated matters. We deal with matters before the immigration judge at the first year tribunal. So we do such as human rights cases, British nationality, indefinite leave to remain application. And that moves us to more of challenging matters before upper tribunal, where we also look at immigration judge's decision on error in law. And finally, we also do litigation work, whereby we challenge the Home Office decision or the tribunal's decision by going before an administrative court by way of judicial review. So we do a lot more for our clients.
And when you mean you do a lot more for your clients, subsidiary, what do you actually mean by that?
Well, in terms of, because Home Office can get decisions wrong. When they get a decision wrong, as their caseworkers are human beings, they get decisions wrong. So having that legal remedy, it allows us to take it to an independent body and challenge that decision for them on their behalf. Because UK immigration is quite complex. And knowing policies, laws, it's our job. And this is where we identify errors and take those matters before a court.
Definitely. I mean, just coming back onto that point,
absolutely.
When you're asking about why would someone choose ICS Legal, I think this is what that question would relate to. It is us. This is what a client would be paying for. When my brother was talking about UK immigration law and so forth, it is our interpretations, and this is how it works. This is what makes ICS Legal, because people will be choosing a person, not just who knows the law, how you'd make that interpretation to your particular case
Absolutely. Now, every business obviously is struggling with their own situation, no matter what firm you work for, no matter what legal service you work for. Every business has its own struggle. Now, obviously, immigration is a very difficult situation, as you explained yourself, brother, and also as you explained how the rules and regulations and how the moral starts with it as well. What have you guys individually maybe faced, or what has the company faced itself?
I think since its inception, since 2006, there's always been challenges. And I think when you go into business, there will always be a challenge that you will need to face, because if you want to get growth, that is where that challenge comes in, because you'll need to find new ways of being innovative, developing new types of services that you can offer, work on the changing market, because again, when the Home Office make changes, it affects you as a business. Don't forget, we've got Brexit and so forth. The Home Office is clamping down on firms. Fees are going up. So there are different things that would affect a client deciding to use us, and that is that effect. We have to find a way to be a bit more positive. Quality of service, that is really important to us, because again, a client has to feel that they can get the best service from us rather than the 14,000 other solicitors that UK or nationally would be able to offer. This is our difference.
I'm glad you mentioned about service. So we're going to go more in details regarding service as we go through the show a little bit more. 14,000 people. Have you been counting all the solicitors?
Absolutely. No.
Have you been counting all the solicitors been out there?
Yeah, my job is research, to be honest, and then finding the best ways of marketing our business. We are a small business, and I understand that. But it is always for us to make the best of what we have, and moving forward from that, we need to know about who is doing what, how they're doing it, and how they're moving forward. Yeah. And it's then for me to analyse on what would be the best for us to move forward with and making that decision, because we have a very small marketing budget, I would say, as a business, as a small business, and it is for me to use it the best way possible in order to move it forward.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kadir Bhai. I'm going to go back to Shajaz Bhai now, and I'll go through a few more details with you regarding the business really itself. How many of you actually work in the establishment?
There's 6 of us. There's 2 of us doing the legal work, and most of them are support staff within our firm.
So do everybody specialise in different sections, or do you work as a team?
We work as a team. Everybody knows their role within the business. We have a due process. We have a process that everybody follows. So we know from when a client calls in or comes into us, we have a process which everybody is quite familiar with. And we've got a good working relationship with our staff here.
Fantastic. What we're going to do then, on that note, is actually we have a clip for you guys who's watching at home right now. So let's have a little look and let's have a little insight of what ICS Legal is. So that's a fantastic clip of ICS Legal that we've just seen, and hopefully all the viewers at home, I hope you've actually noticed how a humble place that place is really to be. Everybody's working really hard, everybody's helping united, and also yourself, Mr. Kadir, you're also overlooking everything as well, which is really nice to see. I will go through a little bit more as well in the details of the show. I don't want to give it all out right now, but to all the viewers that are watching at home, they are a very, very successful business in London right now. We will go through where you are based and as well, where you're actually situated in London. Now, Kadir Bhai, as I'm looking at yourself at the moment, you've got about 6 people working there. I think Shajaz Bhai, you mentioned earlier on, about 6 people who work there. Now, have you trained them all up beforehand, or have they all qualified and come into your business, or how's your process of employment?
The process of employment is always looking at experience, I think, beforehand when someone comes into work. Someone having something is really important, but if they didn't, training is always vital, and it is key that you have to have some level of expertise when dealing with a customer. Noting that, when someone watching the show would be looking at it more like a simple inquiry, for us, we have to take it seriously. Because a client coming in, we have to analyse how best to move forward with the customer, what type of service would be best suited for them in order to move forward with the next stage of what we would be doing with them. Whether it's a simple consultation service, whether they just need advice, or they need support in terms of an application, whether we have to go through a different process altogether. That is something that we look at. So everyone needs to have that, not basic, but that simplistic level of knowledge in order to move forward.
Absolutely. Now, obviously going to yourself now regarding some of the staff we've just mentioned, we spoke about how many members of staff are there and how they work and everything else. Do you find that you both get along with all your staff? Do you get along with your staff very well? Do you find the workforce can be a little bit complicated sometimes? But what's the environment like?
Yes, I believe so. We have a good working relationship. Everybody kind of is able to freely give their opinions. We take their opinions quite seriously. We create an environment. We don't create an environment where we're separated, because as you can see, the way the office is set out, it's not as if the director sits as a different area of the office. Everybody is next to each other. We like that environment, and we treat everybody like a colleague, and they treat us. So this is not a manager and employee. It's more of everybody is working for the same goal, and that's to help our clients. And coming back to training, we do a lot of training. We do a lot of training because we need to make sure that our employees understand our business and what we're trying to achieve. I don't think you could do without training, because everybody comes with a lot of different background of experience. They could come from corporate experience. It could be that they've never worked at a firm. So it's good. We also do legal training. Well, I conduct a lot of legal training because I like my colleagues to know about it, know about laws, changes, anything that comes up. I fire an email to the colleagues Monday morning. I'll tell them a couple of changes to policy. It's just to make sure everybody's on the ball. Everybody knows what's happening. And that's what we do.
So you guys are always there really to always put input into the business, which is absolutely brilliant. Now, just to all of our viewers at home, if you are looking to get into this industry or looking to do something in advising immigration and stuff like that, hopefully our brothers will give us some pointers later on how to help you to get to that level as well, where we need to be. And also how to maybe even start up your own business as well. There's now, there's a lot of immigration business out there, as you mentioned earlier on. So what makes you guys different to them?
Quality of service. I think this is what it really narrows down to. It comes down to the individual dealing with the application, how they would move forward, the continued client care. That is so important, because when a client would come in, especially paying for a service, you need to appreciate that. I think that is what is important with ICS Legal as us. We take that on board, we live it, and that is what is important.
So what is a typical day? A typical day of service? Say, for example, I walked into your ICS Legal, first time I need something to do with immigration, for example. How would that process begin from there?
Initially, we take your details, vital. Then we take your inquiry. We will then look at what would be the next best stage, looking at your circumstances. We may ask you questions surrounding your family, your employment, and so forth. We'll then move forward advising you to have a consultation with us, or whether you just go for a managed service. And that is how we move forward. Once you instruct us, we'll give you further instructions of how to move forward about the documentation side of things, what information we would need, and then it comes into the caseworking stage, where we would then prepare a file and move it forward. You'd then come in, collect, and that is the submission stage.
Oh, that's brilliant. Now, on that note, because obviously you've just mentioned that you've got a process that you flow through and stuff like that. So when it gets, I'm going to go back to yourself now. So coming, like, for example, maybe I work all the time and I've come into your office, I have signed up the paperwork and everything else. Now it's coming down to I've instructed you. How do you deal with a customer who's working all the time and needs your support?
Most of our clients like to be on the telephone, or they'll email, and everybody's, like you said, got a very busy schedule. So what we do is we communicate quite quickly on emails, telephones, and we interact by clients can, instead of coming to the office, they can just post the documents to us, and vice versa. And that's how we do it. We make it as easy as possible, because another note is immigration can become a bit complex because it's about you, and it's a bit personal, whereas other parts of law it isn't as much. But when it comes to immigration, it's a bit personal. So you need to be a bit delicate. You need to know what they want to achieve and know what their utmost goal is. Because even in our business, we come across even lawyers who don't deal with immigration. We're dealing with their immigration, trying to make sure they stay in the country in the right way. Because like my brother was saying earlier, Brexit has played quite a vital role, and a lot of people are affected by that decision.
Absolutely. Hopefully we'll go through a little bit more about Brexit and how it's affected you as we go through the show.
Yeah.
But just to make things a little bit more easier right now for our viewers at home who are watching, I want them to know, because obviously you're brothers, you own a business together.
Yeah.
How did it all start? How did it all start for both of you doing it together?
It started in 2006 when me and my brother, I was 17 at the time. So we were thinking about what to do. And that is how it then began. Like I said initially, it was in recruitment where we started, and then it later evolved where we had to provide UK immigration services. And since 2008, we then moved forward, and we felt there was a need for those services. For us, to be honest, I think there was a need for us. And then we're here today.
Now, do you find that working together, do you work really well together as brothers, or do you sometimes tick each other off?
There is disagreements.
Or do you work through it?
Always we have disagreements, but I think the objective is again the same thing, is about making the best decision possible, and that is what makes our relationship work. My brother understands what I do good, and I know exactly what he does well, and I let him focus on that, and vice versa. He lets me focus on what I do best.
I think we're telepathic. He knows what he needs to do, and I know what to do.
Yeah.
Because, and then I'm more kind of restricted, where I don't like taking risk, where he does. So it works well. And that relationship, we just get on with our jobs.
So it's a bit like a good cop, bad cop kind of role.
Most definitely.
In the legal industry.
Most definitely.
I think when it comes to businesses, a lot of people need to understand having the right business partner is so vital.
Absolutely.
Because you might have the best of business, but working with somebody else, you need to be able to appreciate everybody's strengths and weaknesses.
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely.
And that's how maybe our viewers could think about when they choose the right person to do business, and think about it and make sure that in the future they can get along with.
That's brilliant. Now, sorry, I'm just going to stop you there for a moment. I just wanted to spice up on that little bit of what you've just said there regarding what the viewers can do in the future and how they can generate. So what advice would you have for those people that want to sit in the chair that you're sitting in right now, to give them advice where they need to be there?
I think, first of all, you need to get into a business that you enjoy. You must enjoy what you want to do. I think that's important, because then you can thrive, you can try and grow your business, and you can at least enjoy it. And as I was saying earlier, if you're looking to do business with other person, you need to make sure that that person is the same wavelength as you. And you will have disagreements. It's about being constructive and working towards that. And the end goal is, obviously, you want to make money, you want to be successful. And that's what you need to be doing. And I think another key element is having people behind you. And I think at ICS Legal, this is what we have. We have good people behind us to make sure that that business grows. Because at the end of the day, they are the forefront of our business. They tell our clients what we do and what we're good at. And I think that's how our business has grown.
Absolutely. I completely agree with that situation. When it comes to running a business, I believe in that there's no business without the people that's in it.
Can I add on to what you were saying?
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, as always, you may not have something that you could enjoy. I think most importantly, what you need to do is do market research when you're looking at starting out a business, whatever it may be. That is so important, because you need to look at the changes that the market is going for. Look at technology. It is changing everything that anybody does within a business today. I mean, 20 years ago, it was so much more different. We had analog and so forth. Now, within the digital field, everything is going more online. Everybody needs to have a look at that. Sometimes, I mean, my brother did know that, you need to enjoy it. But sometimes you may not enjoy it. You may fall in love with it at a later stage. But I think market research is important, especially if you want to make money. Your business needs to be simple. You need to understand the process. Once you can understand that process, then you can segment it, put people in charge dealing with different things, and then it becomes a total process. And that is how you can then scale your business into making money, and that is what is important.
That's great. That's absolutely great advice. Now, I'm going to quickly, on that note, as we spoke about family, people working together, is we're going to actually let our viewers actually take a quick look of what their employees think of ICS Legal. That's an absolutely encouraging clip to watch on there, and hopefully all the viewers who's watching at home right now, it's pretty much proven what both brothers have explained regarding ICS Legal today. They have spoken about dignity, about their employers being helpful as well, as much as them supporting them and encourage them to be better in their role. And if they find a new way, they're sharing that love as well within their family. Now, talking about family earlier on, Mr. Kadri, I want to discuss with you really regarding some of your employees. They've said you help a lot, that you stand by them, you support them. Is that a motto that you've built in within yourself, or is that what you feel like that business should be run?
Definitely. I don't think there is only one right way. There are other ways or pathways that you can get to success. And I think picking on brains and getting someone else's idea, it also helps me as a person to develop new ways of thinking in order to enhance our current services of what we would be providing and how better we could do marketing. Because don't forget, our people are at the front or the forefront of this business. They understand the customers better than possibly myself. So getting their knowledge is so important to understand how better you could market out to other individuals, other clients in terms of corporate clients, and how better we could do our services. So that is key to us.
Absolutely. Now it's good. It's good to really see that employees in a business, and it's still forefront, like you were saying earlier. There's no business without your staff, really, is there? So coming to you, Baya, obviously the staff are very important. They've mentioned that you guys help them as they go through. You help them as well as you go through the whole process. Now, to the viewers who are watching at home right now, what advice would you give them to run a successful business?
I think simplify your business model. So, I mean, when I started business with my brother, we were so complicated in the number of services that we were providing, the different things that we would issue to a client on how best to move forward with us. I think you need to narrow it down, and that is what we've done over the years. I think myself, it is still a learning thing, and I'm still going over that. Even though I've been doing business for the last 12 years, it is something that you still need to learn, take on board. Somebody doing business, you need to simplify it as best as possible, because that is then, you can then scale your business in order to make it successful, where you can reach to a higher turnover, and that is what is important.
On that note, I think on that note, I think what you learn at school about creating business plans, knowing your customers, market research, I think when you come to do business, I think it's so vital, and I think you learn from that. So having a bit of academic background is good, because it teaches you a lot in the real world. Because in the real world it's tough. If you want to be successful, you need to be tough about it. And like I said, you need to simplify, you need to know your business, and you need to have good people around it. Because when you start to build your business, you can't do everything. You can't do marketing, you can't do accounting, you can't do finance, everything on your own. You need to delegate, and you need to trust your people to deliver for you. And you need to obviously oversee it, and that's what we do. We trust our people, we train them, we build their knowledge, and I think that's important for us, and as any new businesses.
Absolutely. Obviously, you guys are doing business. You're coming to work every morning. How is the homely life? How supportive is home for your business?
It's very good. Funny enough, I mean, at home we don't always talk about business. When we come home, we kind of switch off a bit, because you need a bit of a balancing. Sometimes when we go out, I mean, funny enough, when we're driving to football or something like that, we'll talk about little things that we need to kind of maybe discuss, give our opinions, and it's a funny talk.
I think, just to cut you in, banter is good. I think you need to be happy when you're getting into business, because that's what a customer wants to see. If you're sluggish, you're sad, unhappy at what you're doing, a customer can sense that.
Absolutely.
If you're encouraging, enthusiastic, that is what makes the business tick. Because don't forget, when someone comes to you, they're actually coming and paying you. So they're actually buying your time. And I think that is the business that you're actually going out there to sell.
But unfortunately, we have come to an end. We are finished with the show today. So everybody who's watching at home, and also our viewers and all of our followers as well, and our true lovers of TV1, and everybody who loves our show, hopefully today's lesson regarding immigration, business studies or business marketing, or even any legal department you want to work in, or even proceeding to that point of life, hopefully that has helped you. Please, if you have missed the show today, we are on YouTube. All of our clips are on there as well. You'll find us on our social media, and also ICS Legal, they're on there as well. So if you have any questions to any of us, please feel to get in contact with us. But everybody at home, I thank you all for watching, and we'll catch you on the next show. Assalamu alaikum.